Welcome to Sales Secrets from the Top 1%, where the world's best sales experts share their secrets to sales success. My name is Bornancin, a serial salesperson and entrepreneur, and I'm sitting down with the world's best sales experts to share their top secrets to sales success. First, everyone, thank you so much for joining us today. Welcome to Sales Secrets from the Top 1%, where the world's best sales experts share their secrets to sales success. I am thrilled, honored, excited, jacked up, ready to go. Like Morgan J Ingram's here with us. You know, this is a guy that I connected with when we were both early on in our thought leadership content development days. Morgan, thank you so much for jumping on the video podcast, the book interview, the social media posting today.
Yeah, no, I'm super excited to be here. Brandon and I have known each other for a while. It's been a crazy journey, but yeah, this is going to be awesome. I'm looking forward to it.
Dude, it's been a lot of ups and downs and just a crazy journey. And for those that don't know Morgan, people want to know, who is Morgan J Ingram? Where did you come from? What is your background? Who's your family? Who is this guy now working for JBarrows Consulting? Who is this guy developing all this great content? Give us a story about who you are, where you come from, and walk us through the whole thing to where you're at today.
Yeah, for sure. So let's go back, born and raised in Atlanta, Georgia. So I'm still here, been here my entire life. So I've been holding it down for the A. For all the people out there that are listening from the A, I'm going to watch this from the A. And, really just grew up, as I always tell people, average, mediocre, nothing too crazy. I got two younger brothers, mom and dad, and really just went to private school with emotions. I never really had aspirations to do anything crazy, because I never thought that was a thing that you could do. So my whole mindset growing up was okay, so you have a special talent, you do your thing, or you're just gifted into a family, and that's just the way it is. If you don't get that, then you can't work to get those results. And so I just gone through the motions, and really it wasn't until my mom gave me a personal development book called How to Get Your Dream Job. And I actually took that book seriously and actually did the stuff that it said, and it worked. And I was like, wait, so if I just read a book, do what it says, to some degree it works. And so that's really where I caught fire for education and caught fire for application and started executing and doing certain things. So the first time I got that book, I was 16, 17 years old. And so since then, I just was in libraries, I was in bookstores just reading. And back then, that was a really weird thing to do. As a kid, just go to the library, read, and start doing stuff. And I was at conferences with people who are executives, and I was just a 17-year-old kid, hey, I'm just trying to learn. And I believe because I put myself out there and had conversations with people that were executives and things of that nature, it helped me accelerate my learning curve and how to talk to certain people on a certain level. And from there, went on to go to the University of Georgia, graduated with finance and sports management. I wanted to be a sports agent. Jerry Maguire, show me the money, was the thing I was really focused on. And then from there.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Yeah. And so from there, they told me I had a law degree. That wasn't happening. Went to a local tech hub. They told me about a startup, got into sales, started the SDR Chronicles as an SDR. And then everything that, the rest kind of tells a story. Got promoted to SDR manager. And then eventually John found me through YouTube, and I'm joining his team. So it's really just been a culmination of a lot of things. But crazy enough, the first time I created the SDR Chronicles, that was my first time actually creating content. I've been doing it for 4 or 5 years. So everything kind of hit together in a synergy in the right way. And that's how I've ended up here today. Wow,
that's amazing. Dude, what's interesting? Hey, Georgia, they've got a pretty badass football team, yeah?
Yeah. So UGA, we're number 5 in the country right now. So we got to beat Alabama, but we're doing good so far.
Dude, I'm from Ohio, Columbus, OHIO, go Buckeyes. So, man, we had a tough loss this year against Purdue. It was brutal, but I'm rooting for you guys just because all my favorite tech people, a lot of my favorite tech people are in Georgia.
Nice.
And the only team that I watch religiously is Alabama, just because I know every time we go to the championship, it feels like we're playing Alabama. So
every year it's starting to get ridiculous.
Yeah. But dude, that's awesome. You know what? I didn't realize we both studied pre-law. I studied pre-law in college.
Oh yeah. Okay, cool.
Did you study law in college?
So I didn't study it, but basically the sports management classes, they made us do like sports law classes. So I kind of dipped my toes into some of those classes. Yeah. Cause I was serious about it.
Yeah. It was so boring. If you're a salesperson doing that stuff, it's terrible.
You lose your mind.
Oh my gosh, dude. I remember my first few political science classes. I wanted to kill myself, and then I launched that company, which is great. But anyways, dude, so, okay, you're doing school in Georgia, and then you talk to me about walking me through, like, how did you get into inside sales again? Like, you flew through, like, then I got into side sales, got promoted, did the podcast, and then went for Barrows. Like, hey, like, how did you go from, like, selling for the football team, like passing on sports management? Like, where did you sell as an SDR?
Yeah.
How'd you get in there?
Yeah, for sure. So I actually did ticket sales at UGA. So most people don't know that caveat. I did ticket sales there.
That's awesome.
So I did that for a summer.
How was that, dude? Like, how is ticket sales?
It's like, you learn patience real quick, because you're selling into people that it's pretty much, it's an upsell, it's a cold sell, and also customer management. So it's like calling people to be like, hey, you had season tickets last year. Do you want to renew? So luckily we were decent.
Okay.
Right? That would have been bad if they sucked. And then you're calling people who previously may have had season tickets or had bought tickets before and be like, hey, do you want to buy tickets for this season? And then also you had to deal with people who were just complaining like, oh, I bought the wrong ticket, or like I was 1 point off and I should have got the bonus package. And it was just like, people just come there so hostile. So I learned a lot. From that. But go ahead and answer the question. So
they would just get aggressive about like having the wrong meetings or something.
Yeah.
Like having the wrong tickets.
I have the wrong tickets. I have the wrong box. Like, I'm a student and I should have had this game and I don't have this game. Like, what's happening here? Like, stuff like that. And I was like, holy crap, this is ridiculous. So yeah, that was insanity. But
were you prospecting? Was it a lot of prospecting, like cold calling, prospecting?
Yeah, it was a good amount of cold calling, prospecting. And then I had to do all the grunt work that people just don't want to do. And even going back to it, like, there's so much stuff I don't really dive too much into it, but there was so much stuff I did in college that was like pure grunt work. Like stuff that no one wants.
When you say grunt work, what is grunt work to you? Like, what do you mean by grunt work?
I'm talking about like filing cabinets, like filling out forms, like doing like warehouse work just to get in contact with people in sports, like filling out boxes of shoes, like stuff like that, like filling out the scores for like the baseball team, and like little stuff like cleaning the field, like stuff like that no one wants to do. Because I wanted to have conversations with certain people.
Terrible.
So like, it is, but at the end of the day, I know it humbles you, and also you can have conversations because people aren't willing to do stuff like that. So I'm never really above it.
Oh yeah.
But that stuff was like,
I completely agree.
Yeah.
That's like the best way to get started with any top company. Whatever job they'll give you, fucking take. Is what I've always learned. Like, I learned that from my dad. Like, he had an opportunity to join CA Technologies when he was a startup. They gave him like an analyst bullshit role, making 15 grand a year. And then he worked up to VP of sales and took CA to $1 billion in revenue. Like, you just got to do what you got to do to hustle.
Exactly.
Okay. So walk me through. I know I interrupted you.
Yeah, no, for sure. But that's a caveat. So the startup. So Atlanta Tech Village, you probably, since you know people in Atlanta, familiar with that. And so people, it's essentially a tech hub. And I, at that point, was like, I don't know what I want to do. Like, I wanted to go into marketing, but they don't accept people right out of college, is what I realized real quick. So I went there, and someone told me, hey, Terminus is a startup, and they just got funding, like $7 million or something funding. And I was like, that sounds wow. Yeah, I was like $5 or $7 million funding, something like that. I was like, that sounds amazing. That means that they can pay me money. So like a guy out of college, like, okay, we need to figure this out. So I found the phone number to the director of sales, VP sales now. I cold called her, and basically was like, hey, look, like, can I get a job here as an SDR? I don't even know what it means, but I'm hungry enough to figure it out. And so went through that interview process, and that's how I found myself as an SDR in sales, which I thought was going to be easy, but I got blindsided and realized it was not.
Yo, dude, that's amazing. And I love that you prospected Terminus, right? Yeah. Because so many people want to apply online and just hope and pray that they get a job interview. And that's like a whole nother book about prospecting for jobs and shows. But like, damn, dude, if you want a job, you got to go out there and get it. And I love that you were just like how did you, so you were doing sales and ticket sales, and then you're like, all right, the tech thing, were you all set? Like, I'm going to definitely do tech inside sales development, or were you like, anyone that would hire me, I'd be interested in?
Yeah. So I'll fill the gaps. So after I realized my spring semester, because I taught my former roommate, his dad was a sports agent. I met a guy who was a pro football player in Athens, and he got me to talk to different sports agents. And so I talked to so many different people about this agency and about sports, because I've been dead set for 5 years. And I realized at the end of the day, it was just not what I wanted to do. And the work behind it, I just feel like it wouldn't equate. Like, I don't want to go to law school just to be a sports agent and then come out and then realize I don't want to do that anymore. Like, I didn't want to go through that. So after I realized
Sounds terrible.
yeah, exactly. So after I realized that, I was like, okay, I need to make an adjustment. So I actually started my own company my spring semester senior year, which was hosting video game tournaments. Yeah, hosting video game tournaments on college campuses. And then from there, that's why I really learned how to do real sales development. Like, I had to roll up on people and be like, hey, look, like, this is the company. You don't know me at all. You have 30 years of experience as a business owner, but I'm going to tell you why you need to invest into us, right? Which is ridiculous in itself. So from learning that.
What type of events? Like gaming events? What, like football, Madden, or?
All across the board. So it was Madden, Mario Kart, Super Smash Bros, League of Legends, all that stuff. So we basically found the top 20 games in the world that had the highest streaming revenue, and then we just took those and we captivated those inside of Athens, Georgia. Got it.
Okay, so you just figured, dude, that was smart. Hold on, back it up, dude. Back it up. So you figured out, like, okay, we're going to do this event gaming thing.
Yes.
On campus. So you literally were like, well, how do we make the most money? Well, let's figure out what the most profitable games are out there, right?
Yes.
How did you get those lists? Like, that's like ideal client persona profiling and lead scoring. But back then, you didn't even know you were doing it.
That's exactly it. So essentially, we mapped that out, and we had like 5 people on the team. So one person, basically everyone on the team played games. So for people out there, like, to own a video game company and not be able to play video games, you immediately get called out. So I actually, in order to get recognition in the community, I would actually have to show up to gaming tournaments and actually show people I knew how to play games, or they wouldn't come. Like, it was crazy. Like, this whole concept's crazy. So I knew that I had to be good, and no people didn't think I was actually good. And then I started playing, and they're like, oh, wait, you're actually legit. And then they'd be like, okay, how can I help you? So I had a lot of like top gamers in the community that would like be like, okay, we're willing to help because of that. But back to the point of the question. So we created that top 20 list. We based it on Twitch. So we went to Twitch and actually looked at the stream revenue. And then we actually also, I contacted people, some on LinkedIn, that worked with Amazon and Twitch as well. So I had, and Coca-Cola down the street too at esports. So we contacted everyone at esports and tried to get the revenue streams of what that was. Most people were like, most people actually gave us that stuff. And a lot of people were actually really excited about what we were doing, because it was before this even got really big. But so because we did that, we caveated that revenue stream and brought it together. And then we would go to restaurants and local shops in the area on Monday, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays. And we would actually look at their foot traffic and take pictures of it. And then on Friday, Saturday, Sundays, we would go back in there and take pictures of it. So when they're like, oh, why should we invest? I was like, well, on Tuesday, you have like 10 people on here. And Friday, you have, let's say, 300. So we could actually bring 50 to 60 gamers on Tuesday night to your establishment that never come and actually make this place look full. And so now you can actually run promotions off Tuesday night. So we sold people on that. And then we got fraternities and sororities in the mix because they wanted to do stuff like that. They just didn't know the concept of how to hold gaming tournaments. So they pay us for that as well.
Wow, that's incredible, man. And then how does that lead you into Terminus? Like, what you were like, all right, I'm not making enough money, or this is too much of a grind, or like, I'm sick of the gaming industry. Like, how did you leave that to go into Terminus?
I wasn't sick of the gaming industry. I actually still love it to this day. And I'm continuously figuring out how I can be involved because I believe in it. It was more so me. I mean, I was 21 years old, like, running a company, and I have college kids on the team. So like at the end of the day, it's like,
that's awesome.
my leadership skills were as good as they should have been, because I wanted to do everything. Because I was like, this is mine. Like, everyone, like, just do this. And if you don't do it right, I'm taking responsibilities. And also you have people who are in college and they don't understand the concept of really how to do it right. And I had a ton of people who wanted to be involved. I just didn't know how to delegate. That was my problem. I just thought I could just do everything, which is, we all know that's not the smart move to do. So from there, essentially, I realized though that I could get in front of people, I could have conversations, and I could develop something and create value prop. So I was like, okay, what does that mean? So that's why I saw the SDR job, and I was like, that's something I could go into. My dad did sales. I know people who are in sales. Let me try it out. And so it kind of just evolved into what it is today.
Wow. What did your dad sell?
My dad he did Xerox back in the day.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Xerox selling is fucking hustle, bro.
Yeah.
Like I hear the stories, like that's what Jill Konrath did. That's like what who's the one guy? Larry Levine, isn't that what he does in coaches? Yeah. Like, oh my gosh, dude, the Xerox stuff, that's a grind and a hustle. I love that.
Yeah.
But back then it was hot. Like that was the newest technology in the world.
It was everyone wanted to sell it. Yep. And then he did like IT and computer software selling after that. And then now he just does implementation. But yeah, he had a good amount of stuff that he did in sales. And so that's why I knew it from him. So I was like, let me just try it out.
Wow, that's incredible, man. That's amazing. So, okay, Terminus. Now, why I love Terminus, which we got to dive into a lot of, like that's where I met you. I was selling for IBM and Google.
Yep.
So I was doing all digital marketing sales, enterprise selling these Fortune 100, Fortune 500 companies to work with IBM and Google for all their digital marketing. And I was doing account-based selling before ABS even existed, because the only way to do enterprise sales, you have to like create that short list of accounts, run high account-based marketing and sales campaigns, ads, but it was so freaking manual, right? Like I'd have to create a list of 100 people at Adobe or at Marquette that I wanted to sell to, and that would take forever. And then I would have to go and get their emails and their phone numbers and their insights. Then I'd have to go set up Google AdWords, Facebook ads, LinkedIn ads, display ads to the account. And I didn't have to do that part. I didn't do the ABM. I had a team to do that. But dude, it was so much work. And then Terminus came out, and you guys were all account-based multi-channel marketing, which I always preach account-based multi-channel selling.
Right.
Tell us about what Terminus is, what you sold, AOV, ideal customer persona for the audience.
Yeah, for sure. So when I just knew Terminus was just going to be one of those things that I'd pay attention to. So I told them in the interview process, I was like, this sounds like HubSpot, but more proactive. That's literally what I said. And they were like, oh, wow, that's interesting. I was like, that's pretty much how I see this. And so what we sold was an account-based, still selling, but account-based marketing platform. And it's proactive digital ads in front of the key decision makers. So essentially, it's more so fit for the mid-market enterprise companies that are going up market and targeting those mid-market enterprise companies. Because as we all know, it's harder to get in front of them. So basically, these ads follow you across the web. So if you're like on ESPN, if you're on Amazon, those ads pop in front of you with that company, and then basically it helps you keep top of mind. So then when the reps reach out to you, you're like, oh, I've seen that company before, and it creates familiarity, just like with anything. And so our ICP essentially was mid-market as enterprise companies, more so companies that have a marketing team, probably like 3 to 5 people on the marketing team. And then also it's CMOs, VP of marketing, director of demand generation, and director of digital marketing. Those are the people we normally sold to.
Yeah. You and I sold to the same personas. I sold to those personas for a decade.
Yeah.
They're hard, dude. They're literally like the marketing personas are the hardest personas that I've sold to IT, sales, marketing. The marketing personas, they get prospected. There's 7,500 ad tech and martech companies out in the world. All 7,500 ad tech and martech companies are prospecting these directors of digital marketing, VPs, managers, SEO, paid search, these personas. So it's a freaking hard grind. You have to, I'm sure you could tell the story, but you got to use all this personalization and multi-channel, all this jazz. So
exactly.
That's insane, dude. When you say mid-market, how did you define mid-market there?
Yeah. So, and that's a good question because obviously people segment that differently. So mid-market for us was essentially I think it was 1 to 200, 300, I believe was SMB. Could have changed now, obviously, because I'm not there anymore. And then from about 300 to 1,000 was that mid-market range. So, and then obviously 1,000 up was enterprise is how we segmented it. Now, this completely different, obviously, guys, because I'm not there anymore. But the big thing is that's how we segmented it out. But for us, that wasn't as much of a segmentation because when I first joined, I was the 20th employee and I was the 5th SDR. So pretty much it was like greenfield. Like if there was a marketer in the company, like go reach out. So that's essentially what we were doing. And so we were just kind of wild west trying to figure it all out.
Awesome. Yeah, dude, that's incredible. And we're the premise of the book is what's your top sales secret, which we're going to get into. I promise the audience, everyone's dying to know what is Morgan J Ingram top sales secret to sales success. But when you were at Terminus, like walk us through the campaigns. Like how did you go from SDR to manager?
Mm-hmm.
How did you succeed there? And like what were you doing daily? What types of campaigns were you running? What types of scripts? Like walk me through the day in the life of you selling for them.
Yeah, so I think when it comes in SDR, the big thing that I did was I was always trying to figure out what people were doing better than me. So, hey, look, good on the phone. I can handle objections. I was getting meetings there, but I saw someone's really good at writing emails. So I was like, okay, what are you writing? What's your subject lines? And I would just have a conversation with them. In return, I'd be like, hey, this is what you need to do here. Someone may be really good at video selling, and I'd be like, all right, so how are you doing that video selling? What's your subject line? How are you saying it, right? Sit down with them. And then I would have people who were really good callers, and I felt like we could have a good conversation. I could learn from them. I'd have power hours with them. So my thing was I was always testing, and I was always trying to learn what other people were doing better. And I actually took the time, sometimes every week, I tried to sit on an account executive's calls to be like, okay, so what are they saying? Maybe there's questions in there that I can ask on a call or I can ask through email to get this person to actually take this opportunity and move forward in the sales cycle. So for me, my process was always looking at what's working and then amplifying that and always trying out new things. But I think my thing was always just staying ahead. So on weekends, I would go ahead and just prospect for sometimes the entire month or sometimes for the entire week. So that my only focus when I got to work was calling and emailing. And that was it every single day. So I would say that's what really helped me get ahead from an SDR standpoint. And then from there, I just looked at obviously my data set from a CRM and I just saw who was buying the most. So if I saw, oh, wow, director of digital marketing is buying the most from Terminus, I'm going to only target director of digital marketing because clearly this is working. So I just saw trends and I always just stuck with the trends.
Dude, that's awesome. I love that you were so hungry to learn, right? Because I remember I was one of the first people you reached out to for the podcast. And dude, that was when I saw the power of interviews because I'm like, man, this guy, I don't even know who this is, this SDR. It wasn't like I don't know. I just never understood the power of like interviews. And I love, like, after you interviewed me, I felt freaking awesome. Right. And I'm like, dude, I really like this guy. I like the interviews. I like what he's doing. And I love that you just stayed so hungry for new knowledge. You stayed so adaptable and open to optimization and change. I think a lot of salespeople, what we're seeing is people get cocky. People get stuck up. People think that they learned everything already. Like, how did you combat, like, because you're at Terminus, you're winning, your SDR Chronicles is starting to scale up. How the hell did you keep yourself humble and have humility and stay hungry and coachable and still want to optimize and learn?
Yeah, I think three things. So one is having mentors that are doing way better than you. Like that's like number one, because
that's a hell of a tip.
Because you're gonna get shut down. You're gonna be like, oh yeah, and they're gonna be like, no, like I've sold 3 companies, I have way more experience than you. Like this is what you need to do. So like, all my mentors are just on the next level, and I know that if I try to come up with them either incorrect or like they sense just a little bit of me just like kind of not working hard. First of all, they're not gonna want to mentor me anymore, and then also they're gonna tell me like, Morgan, like you need to get back on track with what's going on. Like that's the way that I really just stay hungry, because I just know that like they won't appreciate me much as the mentee if I'm not continuously moving forward. So that's one thing. And two is really what Gary Vee says. What's up?
No, I was just saying that's an awesome tip. And
yeah.
Like before we hit number 2 and 3, why that I think that's so critical is all my friends, all my family, people around me, and I don't know if you've experienced this. They're like, Brandon, you're working too hard. Brandon, why are you so out there? Brandon, why are you giving it your all so much? And like, dude, my mentors are billionaires and hundreds to billion millionaires. And when you start studying these guys and gals and women and men, they go all out in all facets 24/7. Like, I'm not saying you need to work 24/7, but I completely agree with you, dude. They're like on a whole nother level where I feel like shit every day I wake up because I already know they've done 20 things more than me. Gary Vaynerchuk has already done 1,000 things more than me. Grant Cardone has already done 1,000 things more than me. Ryan Serhant has already done 1,000 things more than me. It's like, fuck, I feel like a loser. So I love that you do that. That's awesome.
Ryan Serhant, that's my guy.
Dude, he's a baller. He's getting interviewed for the book, which is awesome. I'm thrilled to have him on the show awesome. Here. Yeah, I mean, I've learned a lot from him. Expansion always in all ways. Like, he's great. I used to live in New York, and I remember when he like just started doing it and just started getting involved in the show, because my sister's in acting in Hollywood, and she kept talking about how big it was. Crazy. And I'm not a name dropper, so I hate name dropping. But okay, that's awesome. So number one, find top.
Yeah. Oh, that's the find top mentors that continuously make sure that you stay grounded. Number two is realizing at the end of the day that like what is going to get you to a certain point won't get you to the next point, right? You probably heard that before, and I know that. So it's like, oh, cool. So you have this accolade, or you're number one in the company, but like, are you number one in your industry? Are you number one in your profession? Are you number one in your state? Like, that's what I always think about. Because people are comfortable like, oh, I'm number one in the company, but it's like, okay, then what? It's always the next step, which I feel like at the end of the day, a lot of people don't think about it in that way, because they're like, oh, then you're always seeking the next thing, but you're always going to be seeking the next thing. It's like, cool, you close a $1 million deal. The next thing you're going to say is, I need to close a $5 million deal. You're like, oh, you're number one in the company. Next thing you're going to be is like, I want to be number one in the East Coast. I want to be number one worldwide. So my thing is, I always push for the nth degree. That's why my number one goal is to be the best motivator of all time. And I tell myself every single morning, like, I want to be the best prospector in the entire world. Like, now, the only reason I say that is because I have to strive for something, right? If I just say, oh, I hope I'm good today, then hope's not a strategy. We all know that. So like, as Roderick says, so it's like, you have to be pushing towards that. And that makes me never comfortable. Like, the stuff I'm going to talk about, like, on this right here on this podcast, on this interview, like, probably won't be relevant next year this time. You'll be like, that's actually old info. Like, I'm not trying to be the old info guy. I'm always trying to be, hey, let's try to at least stay current. I'm trying to give you some little new tips, new nuggets. The only way I'm going to do that is by continuously evolving me and evolving myself.
LFG, baby, no Q5. I completely agree, dude. Exactly. There is no Q5. LFG, you got to keep changing. Yeah, it's awesome to hear. Like, it's interesting that you say, like, hey, what got you there won't get you here. No, what got you here won't get you there. What got you here won't get you there.
Yep.
Yeah, that's okay. And then what's the third one?
So third one is that you have to have. So this is different, and you got this one is like probably the most important one. Is you have to have a circle of friends that are willing to check you and then push you. So all my inner circle, all my inner circle of friends, I tell them, if you see me slacking, if you feel like I'm getting out of hand, you feel like I'm living too much in the moment and I'm taking too much accolades in, then you need to check me. And I don't care if you check me, I won't be emotional about it. And then two is like, if you feel like I should be doing more and I'm slacking, like, you need to tell me to step it up. And so I've had people in my inner circle that have been like, yo, Morgan, nope, you're doing too much. Like, you're getting too excited about stuff. Like, you need to get back on the focus, because like, you got a lot more to go. Okay, cool. Or someone's like, hey, Morgan, like, you could be pushing it a little bit too hard, or you've been slacking in this area. Okay, cool. I'm in for it. So, and it doesn't matter. The big thing is, it doesn't matter where they're at. Like, from a monetary standpoint or from like a career standpoint, they could be just building their brand up. They could just be just starting out. Like, if you're in my inner circle, that's what I tell every single person. And they have the right to pretty much tear me apart if need be. And you need that, because a lot of people get too caught up, again, like you said, in their own cells of what's going on. So then they just forget that, like, there's still more things to do. And your friends are going to be the best people to give you that advice, because they're around you more. And also, they're going to have a different perspective than you on yourself.
Wow. Yeah, dude, I had some struggle and challenges with this. I love that you built this mastermind of your inner circle, right? So this inner circle, is this like just something that you created with your friends? Is this something that you sell at John Barrows Consulting? Like what is this inner circle? And I could also share about my inner circle
100%.
because it's very like how did you create that? Who's in it? Is this a only your thing? Is this a public thing? Just curious.
I think it's a public thing. So I read a book for all you out there, Law of Success by Napoleon Hill. So he's most famous for Think and Grow Rich, but Law of Success is actually an older book and actually has more in-depth knowledge in there if you want to check it out. So in that book, they talk about the mastermind. And essentially it was like Rockefeller and Eisenhower and a couple others. And basically it was a group of like 7 people. And if you weren't pushing the envelope and you weren't doing certain things, it was like 2 or 3 strikes and basically you're out of the group and for like 6 months or something like that. And then you may be able to get entered back in. But if you weren't like executing, if you weren't providing value, you're cut off. And so I took that same concept to my group of friends. So as we all know, as you grow mentally, as you grow just as a person, you're going to lose some friends, not because you're just trying to cut people off, just because you just have different expectations. Your life's different. So because of that, I cut a lot of people off. And then once you cut people off, it allows new people to come in. And I basically had selected those people who came in and I was like, I told them what I just told you. Hey, look, if these things happen, can you check me? And so this isn't a J Barrows thing. I've been doing this since I was 19, 20 years old. So maybe like 5, 6 years now. People do change along the way because people, again, have different values and expectations. But the people that are close to me, I always have that because I know like that's super important because you have to do that. And one thing someone told me as I was just, going to different seminars and continuously learning is they said, hey, look, like if you can do this, then that means you're ready for the next level of growth. And they said, find all your closest friends, sit them down, pay for their lunch, pay for their dinner, and then tell them two things that they can do. One is tell them to tell you every single thing they like and love about you. And then 2 is tell them to tell you every single thing they hate about you and wish that you would change. Most people will not do what I just
Wow.
said. And I did that.
Holy shit. That is deep, dude. That is deep. Let's get to the fucking core there, dude.
Yeah.
Tell me what they said they liked about you and tell me what they said they hated about you. Because I think you learn the most from when people hate you or when people criticize you, but there are also trolls that you have to ignore just because they hate their lives, and you can't let that shit hold you back. So tell me what they liked and what they hated.
Yeah, and I'll give you guys context on this. And this is good because, again, the most people who say things on the internet, things of that nature, they may not know you personally. So they're not in their day-to-day life with you. But if they are with you on a day-to-day basis, they're going to give you good advice. So I'll go into like what they did not like about me or hated or said like, hey, you can change this. So I think one thing for me is like, back in the day, I would get too excited about certain things and wouldn't provide context around them. So I'd be like, all right, cool, we need to go do this, and they'd be like, well, we don't like that about you because you're just hyping up stuff to hype stuff up, and you're not really giving any value on it.
Man.
Yeah,
I'm a hype man too, exactly. Dude. I love hyping people up, dude.
And they were like, you're
trying to sell it. You're trying to get people jacked. Like I saw Afro Jack last week, and like I had a group of people, I had to get them hyped up. I'm like, look, we got bottle. I don't even drink. We got bottle service at Afro Jack. It's going to be fucking amazing. Let's go. It's Wednesday at like midnight. Dude, I just love hyping people up for shit. Keep going though. So
that was one
they
of them.
They were saying that they hated.
They're like, yeah, we don't like that because you just get hype about things that like you're not really hype about and you instigate things. And I was like, that's fair. I do that. So that's completely fine. I think another thing was I can be very closed off and I don't really tell people how I feel. So I'll kind of like be subliminal in some stuff and not be direct. And I've gotten better with that. And obviously you've met John before. I've talked to him. Like I've gotten more direct because I work with him. So just by default. But I used to be very just indirect about things. And so people didn't like that because I wouldn't tell them my honest opinion. I think a lot of times, and still to this day, I'm working on it, was I would care too much about like what I need to personally do for me before sometimes I care about people that are out, not in my inside circle. So if you're a really close friend of mine, I'm very loyal. So that means that I will make sure things get done. But if you're outside of that, I back in the past, I really didn't care too much about that. So it was like, hey, I got to do my thing. Like you figure it out. And I think another thing, attention to detail. So if someone texts me or calls me or something of that nature, like I'll miss the detail because I wasn't paying attention. I just was like, yeah, next thing,
Okay.
next thing. I'm very ADD. I'm thinking about the next thing I need to do. And
Yeah.
then,
It's
yeah,
hard to do
in the
everything
moment,
all at once, right?
right. In the
Like
moment too, people
it's
didn't
so
like that.
hard.
Yeah. So like, even girls I've dated, like, they're like, you're not in the moment sometimes. And I'm like, sorry, I get distracted about 1,000 things that go in my head because I think so fast. So those are things that people disliked or like hated about me. They're like, these are things that like you should not be doing. They're not helpful. I would say what they liked is my passion.
Did
Yeah,
you
go ahead.
ask, hold on, so did you ask all your friends, like, how did you even start that conversation? Because it's a really good exercise. I would be worried about what my whole network would say about me. Like if I posted that on LinkedIn and I was like, yo, what do you like and what do you hate about me? Like that, it's really hard to hear. So like, what made you think to even do that? Like that's really mature of you to do.
I I just wanted to. My thing is, I just want to be the best product of myself that I can be. So, and I might think it's not a problem, but other people will definitely see it as a problem. So, my thing was, I need to correct these things. I did that in college. So, it was like, if I could correct these things in college, and like when I move into my career, like I can at least work on them. They may not get better. They may not. I may completely go away, but at least I can get slightly improvements across the board. And someone told me that was an exercise that they did, a mentor, what I had in college, and he suggested that I do it. So I was like, why not? Like, you're successful, it clearly works, so let me do it.
Wow,
I
dude,
don't over. The
that's
thing is with me
really
is like, I don't overthink people. I don't overthink what people tell me if they're successful. I'm not. You're successful, so like clearly it works. So I'm gonna do it. Like I don't overthink anything anyone tells me. Oh, okay, it works for you. Great, I'll do it. Never.
neither. Dude,
Yeah.
me neither. It's like if Gary or any of these, like Anthony Iannarino is an investor in my company, Keith
Yeah.
Rose is an investor, Stu Heineke is an investor, Mario Martinez is an investor, and then all these other super successful VCs, like when they tell me these are guys that have sold the VCs, these are guys that are like the first money in Pandora, Spotify,
Right.
Uber, like Dropbox. When they tell me to do something, I don't even like. I probably should sometimes question it, but I'm just like, okay, you know what you're doing. I'm going to put it into action and
Right.
execute. Like, I didn't build $100 million company before,
Right.
so if you tell me this is what Dropbox did to maximize virality and increase revenue 10x, then I'm gonna fucking do it.
Yeah.
No thought.
This is not a thought process.
Like,
Yeah.
if LeBron James, who's my idol, I'm from Cleveland. I fucking love LeBron James. I love his hustle, his hard work. Like, dude, if I'm trying to learn how to play basketball and I never can play basketball, I'm short, I'm white. There's no like, I just suck at basketball. And dude, if he tried to teach me how to play basketball, like I would just do whatever he says to do.
Of course.
If I want to be the best basketball player, I'm going to listen to LeBron and just do what LeBron says. LeBron, what do you do every day? I will follow you and do exactly what you said.
Exactly.
A lot of people don't do that. I don't understand why.
I don't either, but like it's just for me, it's like a common sense thing. But yeah, that's why I did the exercise, and that's what I gained from it. I actually haven't done it like in 5
And
years.
who did you send that exercise to? Just your friends?
It was my closest and oldest friends, and some of them had gone to college with me. Some of them were in other places. So it was about 5 to 7 people that I chose, and
Wow.
then basically people that I've dated, that's a whole that conversation sucks. but it was actually highly beneficial because if someone's dated you, then they have a whole different perspective. But that feedback is actually invaluable feedback. So yeah, and I actually did it with my brothers and my parents too. That's a different conversation. It's a different way of staging that, but like I just was like, just because they love you, they're not gonna try to tear you down. But like I was just like, I need feedback on this, and I don't know, really helped me out a lot. Like I would say those conversations definitely have molded me into like understanding who I am for sure, because I just got feedback on stuff that I like, oh, I knew that, or like I never would have thought of that. Oh, I didn't even know I did that. So it's cool.
Dude, that's amazing. That's amazing. It's almost like a net promoter score or like a customer success survey. I don't know what you would call it, but it's like checking in with the people that you know and saying, what are we doing well? What are we doing bad? I never thought I've never really done that because I've just been so focused on my lane. That's definitely something that I'm going to apply shit right away. And it's going to hurt. How did you handle the hard part? Like when people tell you all these things like that you hate, that they dislike about you, like how did you not take it super personal?
I think I just told myself like, just don't take it personal. And like, I definitely made faces where I was like getting mad because I was like, no, I don't believe that. But like, I always just, to calm myself down, I was like, okay, can you like explain why you said that? Like, just help me understand it, right? Like, seek to understand
Help me learn.
Help me learn why
Help
you
me
don't
learn. Help me how I could optimize that.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
dude, because I think it's sales, like, and let me know if you agree or disagree, but when your sales management or sales leader is giving you things that they like about and what needs improved, a lot of salespeople, what we've seen is they get offended, they don't listen, they shut down, they don't want to hear it, they think that they're the best. And I don't know, what's your advice for people like that are getting feedback, good and bad, from management and don't know how to react to it? They take it offensive. Like, what's your advice so that they don't take offense to it?
This is the mindset that I have, and this is why, again, I don't like getting criticized, right? I'm not like, let me preface here. I'm not sitting here like, all right, great, John's going to grill me today. Like, I'm excited. Like, that's not what I'm saying. But this is why, like, that's not exciting. But what is exciting, we got to think about is like, it's short-term and long-term. And everything really comes down to these two things, short-term and long-term. So my thing is, would you rather have a short-term pain of being kind of, hey, look, like, this is why you suck, or this is why you need to improve, like, this is what you need to get better on, like, these are your deficiencies, then the long term of you never uncovered those. So like, you have the long term of missing deals, not hitting quota, like being at the bottom, like never excelling in your career, never growing. And because you can't do these things, now you can't provide it for your family. Now you don't have any income. Like, that's dark. But what I'm saying is that, like, I'd rather have the short term of like, this is why you're not doing good, so then we could correct it, than the long-term deficiencies of me avoiding it, but it's actually hurting me in the long term. And now, like, long term, I can't get the results I can get because I've been evading myself for the short term. That's really how I think about it every single time.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I mean, the way that you just have to think about the super worst case scenario. Like, when I'm working on building Seamless.AI, the world's best sales lead, I never look at the best case, because like the best case is the best case of the best case. Like, it's much harder to look at the worst case scenario. And that's like when we're talking to customers, when we're talking to our team, if we don't do this, like, dude, someone could lose their house, someone could commit suicide, someone could, lose their cars, like all this stuff. They could not provide for their family. It could lead to divorce. Like, I always think about the worst case, and then I use that as like, for example, I just recently posted about, I'm whole food, plant powered vegan, and I don't drink anymore because one of my buddies just is dying from liver cancer, which is crazy. And like, I shared that story on LinkedIn a day ago, and I asked myself, like, damn, could this positively impact someone? Share it. This is like super personal. It has nothing to do with business or selling. I was like, screw it. If it can help someone change their life for the better, I'm going to share it. And then I got like 40 LinkedIn messages. Dude, I just changed this in my diet. Dude, I just changed this with drinking. I quit. And I'm like, wow, it's crazy, like, how powerful just doing the little things where, when you analyze the worst case scenario of like, don't worry about people that are going to criticize you. If you can positively impact someone special, just get it out there. And it sounds like that's what you're doing.
Yeah, that's really what it was about.
I know we were going to go over like what people like about you, but I want to save time for the world's best sales secrets, right? The top secret. Sales secrets from the top 1%, the world's best sales experts share their secrets to sales success. The audience is dying to know, Morgan J. Ingram, what is your top sales secret? What is the one thing that you can go back to when you first started selling? What is the one thing that you would tell yourself? What's that one sales secret? And explain.
There's actually a lot that I want to dive into, but if I had to choose just one, right? I think it has to be the number one thing I always tell people, is the hunger to learn. That's actually the biggest, and I'll tell you why. Because if I can understand how to talk directly to a persona and I understand their KPIs.
And say what the secret is, just in case the audience missed it.
My bad. Yes. For me, the secret is an obsessive amount of hunger to learn, like on an undying level. And so the reason I'm saying that is because in order to get better, you have to learn by osmosis. So everything that you think that you know, you really don't know. So the thing is, if you're not actually giving your calls to your manager, you've lost on opportunities to get more knowledge. If you're not talking to the executives on why they're actually building the company in the first place, you can miss out on a talking point to tell a story to a prospect. If you're not learning what's happening in your CRM and why people are actually buying your solution, then you're missing out. If you're not reading on and to listening to podcasts of the personas you're going after, you're missing out on valuable insights. So that's why I believe that's actually the biggest secret, because if I can just be on the same playing field and level as you, that's a really good conversation. So essentially that's why a lot of successful people, they actually read the news or the newspaper, obviously to be knowledgeable in what the world's going on, but they do that because when they have a conversation with another executive or they're trying to do something from a business standpoint, they can actually talk to anything in a conversation. So it goes the same here. If you have a hunger to learn and you're obsessed with learning as much as possible, then you can have a conversation with any persona at any point in time. Even if you're not prepped, if you're at an event and you're like, oh, this is my position, I'm at this company, you can just talk the challenges and priorities without even knowing about the company. So I think that's actually like the biggest secret, because if I run up on a VP of sales or an enable person or a director of sales development person, I don't need to know what company they're at. I can talk to those priorities and those challenges, and then we can dive into what's going on at their company. But as long as I understand that, that's going to be better for me, because in sales, we have to think about, hey, how can we have more conversations that provide value than just like, hey, I'm just going through the script of questions I'm asking.
Wow. A hunger to learn. I love that sales secret, and I love the advantages that you just went over. What happens if you don't have the hunger to learn? Like, how does one go from not hungry, being average, being kind of lazy, or just not even knowing that they don't even have the hunger to learn? Like, how does one get excited about learning? How do you develop that?
Yeah.
How do you just get started if you're not hungry to learn a lot?
That's actually a really good point. So for me, I actually, lo and behold, I was actually pretty lazy growing up. Like, I really didn't care about too much. So I wasn't reading books. I wasn't doing podcasts. Like, that was not.
You're a perfect example.
I am.
Example.
Yeah.
You
And
didn't
all my
want to learn,
friends,
and now you do.
and then this isn't something I'm just making up to tell a story with it. Like, you could go ask my friends in high school, in middle school, brother, family. Like, I was a lazy person. Like, only thing I wanted to do is play video games, and that was pretty much it. So like, that was the extent of what I wanted to do. So the reason I changed completely is because I had different goals, and I think that's what it comes down to. I had bigger aspirations, and I realized I just wanted more out of life, and I realized the only way that was going to happen is to read. So I'm willing to go buy a book for $20 to go live the life that I want to live. That's an easy trade-off for me.
On Kindle, they're like $9. Really, dude?
Exactly.
You're really gonna like count the dollars for $9? Wow.
My whole point. So
you had.
Yeah, go ahead.
Keep going. No, I don't want to interrupt. Keep going.
No, I'm saying it all maps out to goals. Like, if you want to go buy the Porsche, then like, okay, in order to buy a Porsche, like, you're going to need knowledge to go buy the Porsche. You're not going to be able to show up. So you're going to have to read some books to get a skill to make enough money to go buy that Porsche, right? Same thing with the house, same thing with the lifestyle you want. Maybe you want to go meet famous people. Like, that doesn't just happen. Like, you have to read to be on the same mindset. And that's what I realized, because if I didn't read those books, if I didn't have a certain mindset, successful people or people that are doing well wouldn't want to talk to me, because they'd be like, okay, we'll help you, but they're not going to be on the same level and mindset as them. It's all about wavelengths at the end of the day, essentially. So that's why I was like, in order to be on the same wavelength of the life that I want to live, I have to do these things that people don't really necessarily care about, but they're important because I care about living this life. I care about doing these things. So it really just comes down to you. Like, what kind of life do you want to live? Like, if you want to be average, you just want to chill, then like, no, maybe this hunger to learn isn't for you. But if you're like, I want to be number one, I want to drive this, I want to have this type of house, I want to live here, there's trade-offs to that. It doesn't just happen. So that's what I normally tell people on that end.
Yeah. So you just realized you were like lazy, and it's interesting, right? Because like, I also was lazy in grade school.
Yeah.
And I wasn't really lazy in high school. I was creative, but I was like big into ADD, and like, I was just always like doing all types of stuff, like getting into tons of trouble as in high school with my buddies. But like, I think like, it's like you said, it's about goals and it's about purpose almost. Like, if you didn't have goals and you didn't have purpose, why would you work hard? Why would you be hungry to learn?
Yeah.
Right.
You wouldn't. Like, I don't know anyone who's doing personal development books or listening to podcasts that doesn't have some big goal that they're striving for.
Yeah. Or else, because if they didn't, they wouldn't pick up the book. They picked up the book because they want to improve somewhere.
Exactly.
Yeah. And that's interesting. I just met with $1 Million Listing Agent Oliver Chapman from the Chapman Group.
Mm.
And he said, because we're really good friends, and he lived in Ohio. He still lives in Ohio and runs this big brokerage. But he said, like, I used to criticize you, Brandon, about how hard you worked and all this shit. And he's like, and then I realized your goals were just so much bigger than mine.
That's it.
So when and I'm like, because I asked him, I was like, he's like, Brandon, we were talking about haters and people that criticize you. And I never met a person that criticizes you or hates on you that is more successful than you. It's always someone that's less successful typically, or they'll just, if it is someone more successful, they'll provide positive criticism to improve. The people that don't typically are just less successful, and then they hate on you. So to anyone that's dealing with haters out there, people criticizing them, don't worry about it. Stay on your lane. Keep executing. Keep doing what you're doing, because you're not doing what you're doing. They don't have the goals that you have. And when he told me that, I was like, shit, dude, that's interesting that if you have low goals, like it's all about the goal. And it sounds like the goal really pushes you.
The goal pushes me every single day. And the thing is, this is the extra effect. Most people won't do this. Like for the past 2-3 years, like I posted my goals on Facebook, and then I just will be like, all right, here we go. So like this was 3-4 years ago. So right after I graduated college and I realized, hey, I'm not going to do the sports agent thing, I went into public speaking, and I posted literally on Facebook. I was like, I will become a public speaker. I'll speak on stages, and I'm going to be able to do this globally. Out of college. I said that out of college. No, I have no idea how I'm going to do it. I just put it up. And people are like, no way, you're not going to be able to do that. Like, no matter how hard you work, that's not going to happen. Some people are like, I believe in you. Some people are like, that's absolutely absurd. And I'm
that's amazing.
Now an international
that's
speaker.
incredible.
I've gone to India, I've gone to Amsterdam. So it's like,
how many years ago was that?
3
years
ago.
How many years ago was that?
3 years ago.
3 years ago. Dude, I keep forgetting how recent of a graduate you are, man. That's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I love it, dude. I love it. Like, this guy, 3 years out of college, Morgan J. Ingram, is going out. He's publicly stating, like, I just started, by the way, posting on LinkedIn. So I posted my weight goals yesterday for the first time, and I'm posting all my goals. So I try to keep it like 3 to 5 goals. Just yesterday, I publicly posted on LinkedIn because I'm just like, dude, you know what? I want the whole world to know what I'm trying to do, and I want the whole world to hold me accountable. So you learned that. You started doing that way before I did. I wish I did it right away.
And the reason is because, but the thing is, like, this is not stuff that I was like sitting in my room writing, right? This is all literally, this is why I had the number one, right? Mentors. They were just like, hey, do this. And I'm like 19, 20 years old. So I'm like, all right, that sounds good to me. Let's do it. I don't have anything to lose. So as I did it, and I do that. I've done it a lot, and a lot has come from that. And because what it does is because now it puts you on a global notice. So every action that you do has to be tied to that. You can no longer hide. I'm cool with that because like that's what my aspirations are. So if I fall short, I fall short. And I also really just got that from Gary Vee, because he was like, yo, I want to own the Jets. I want to own the Jets. I want to own the Jets. So now everyone's like, you have to push to own the Jets. So now it automatically makes him work hard. Like he can't just take a day off because he said, dang it, you know what? 3 weeks ago, I saw on a podcast, I got to own the Jets. So I have to go grind. Like that's what it does. So it automatically propels you to go take action. Most people would be like, I just want to hide my goals and not tell anyone, which is fine. I'm just saying the big ones, I'll be like, this is what I want to do.
Yeah, dude, it's so awesome. Guys like you and guys like G and all these guys, you know, and gals, people, when I say guys, everyone, I mean guys, women and men, just because there's not enough women out there in sales getting promoted and featured, but that's another topic. When it comes to, I started to do the same thing. Like I just started, I said publicly, even in my LinkedIn headline, I'm on a mission to positively impact 1 billion people. And everyone knows now what my mission is. I want to write a New York Times best-selling book. I want to be 155 pounds, 5% body fat, and I want to build $100 million software company worth over $1 billion in revenue. And if I did over $1 billion in $1 billion valuation or revenue, I positively impacted probably 1 billion people. So like, I don't know. It just feels like when you do that, it holds you accountable. And I'm posting daily I'm going to try to post daily my progress to those goals. I got so scared to share my 5 goals with people. Why do you think it's scared? Like, why do you think I was scared? Why do you think other people are scared to do that?
Yeah,
and how did you overcome that?
So this is deep. this is
I love
actually,
it. Dude,
this is actually legit.
This
is actually the legit reason why. And I asked myself the same question. I was like, wait, why wouldn't everyone do that? And it's actually the reason why people don't pay for workshops, why they don't invest into training, why they don't buy books, why they actually don't watch any podcasts, and why they don't follow people that are actually posting motivational content. It's because now once you learn the information, you have to do something about it. So people would rather just avert the knowledge and information to make excuses their entire life. Oh, I didn't know about that information. I didn't know that you could do that. I'm just going to complain and say my life sucks and I can't do any work. But once you find, hey, here's the information how to be successful. Here's the things you need to do to be a better sales professional. This is how you get promoted. You now are privy to that knowledge. So you actually have no reason to actually make excuses. It's the same thing with goals. If you don't put your goals out there, no one knows what your goals are. So you can always lie to yourself and be like, oh, well, I told myself I was going to lose 20 pounds this year, but it doesn't matter. No one knows my goals because I wrote them myself. But if you put it out there and be like, hey, look, I'm looking to be number one in my company, or I'm looking to get better at sales, or I'm going to attend 10 networking events this year. Now everyone's watching you. And if you don't do it, now you're like, now everyone's going to not make fun of you, but they're going to
let everyone down.
Yeah, I'm letting everyone down. And also, like, I didn't really want to do that in the first place. I was just saying that to say that. Or they don't even want to do it in the first place. That's why they didn't post it. So I really feel like that's the reason people don't want to actually put themselves out there, is because they don't, first of all, they don't want to be put on notice for something that they know that they're not going to do. And I think also people are straying away from knowledge because they don't want to know the knowledge and then not have an excuse of why they didn't do something.
Wow. And because the hunger to learn, dude, that's deep. That's deep. The hunger to learn, it's hard. Like, I developed the habit to learn and then apply it and execute right away.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people that I know in sales that are performing at the C level, B level, like, you know, they're making 50,000 to 100,000, 100,000 to 200,000, but like, you know, the guys at the top of the game learn and take action and apply from what I've studied. The billionaires learn just-in-time learning, they take action, and then they execute. Like, how do your hunger to learn, if you learn something, give advice for people that are struggling with, like, taking what they learned and then taking action. What advice do you have?
Depends on what you're learning from, right? So if it's a book, there's probably multiple lessons you can use. If it's a training, same thing. If it's just one thing.
Well, let's just say, like,
right,
to help phrase it, like, they're taking the John Barrows consulting training that you have, or they learned a new email strategy or a new cold calling sales strategy, or they read a book on LinkedIn for selling.
I would say find out of the 1, 2, 3 things that you want to do, and then do that. Like, don't try to choose 20 things and be like, I'm going to do all 20 next month, because you're not going to do it and you won't do them effectively. Choose 1 to 2, 3 things, do one thing maybe for a month, and then amplify from there. Like, be very targeted and narrowed on what this one thing I really need to do. That's what I did with the first book I read. I just found, okay, I'm going to do this one thing first. And then it worked. And I was like, okay, cool. I'm going to grab another thing to do. Oh, that worked? Okay, cool. I'm going to grab something else. But don't try to do like 20 things, because then you're going to be lost and it's not going to be helpful.
Wow. Dude. Amazing. We went through like 50 sales secrets, but you know,
we did.
The number one sales secrets from the top 1%, the world's best sales experts share their secrets to sales success. Morgan J. Ingram, his top sales secret, which goes along with his action plan, like, take the one thing and do it. Build hunger to learn. The sales secret is have a hunger to learn. Learn as much as possible, get as much knowledge as possible, and take action and apply it today. Man, I am just so thankful and humbled that we could have you on the show. You are someone that, you know, quickly got into the field, started developing, started learning, try to learn from everyone possible, execute, optimize, learn, execute, optimize. I feel like that's your mojo, your theme. And dude, I'm really excited to share this interview for the book, for the video, for the social media with the world. And I hope that they apply this sales secret so that they can instantly maximize their wealth, maximize their health, maximize their potential. And Morgan, as we close out, where can people contact you? How do people contact you? How do people connect with you? How do people find you?
Yeah, real simple. So YouTube podcast, SDR Chronicles. LinkedIn is Morgan J Ingram. It's the same thing for Twitter, Instagram. And then Morgan at JBarrows.com to reach out to me. So if you have any more questions or anything I talked about you resonate with you, love to have a conversation. Best way to reach out to me though is on LinkedIn, and I respond as fast as I can. So I appreciate it being on here though.
What channel are you most involved in most? Is it LinkedIn?
It's LinkedIn by far. Yeah, by far.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was saying LinkedIn is just not, no, it's just not even close. Like LinkedIn, it's been awesome. Like just got the top sales voice. So it's like LinkedIn's been like basically the backbone and cornerstone of my career so far. And like I put a lot of time into LinkedIn. So, and I know it'll only grow from a personal brand standpoint. So that's like my number one thing right now.
Dude, that's awesome. Well, congrats on the LinkedIn top voices. I tweeted to Roth or whoever the guy is that runs that. Yeah. I'm like, dude, your goal setting thing. I was like, I'm going to be a top voice next year.
Hey, let him know.
Like, I told him like 2 days ago when the list came out and I wasn't on the list. Yeah. I was like, yo, I'm coming for you. And I'm so happy for you. By the way,
thank you.
This is another little secret, guys. I am not, and I know this is Morgan's interview, but I just got to drop it because it's really critical. I am not mad at Morgan for getting a top LinkedIn voice. I am thrilled. This is like from good to great. I am so fucking happy and ecstatic and amazed and like just humbled to have Morgan in my life and that he's achieving his success and that he's a LinkedIn top voice. I am not like, oh my gosh, Morgan's got a LinkedIn top voice. I'm going to try to tear him down so I could become a LinkedIn top voice. I'm trying to learn as much from him to find my voice and to improve my life. We could both be successful at the same time. It's not a competition. Right. The only person that you're competing with is yourself. And I'm just super happy that you're crushing it, that you're learning, that you're optimizing, that you're growing. I'm excited to get this out there now on LinkedIn. Right after this interview, you have to share that you loved being on the interview for the book, secretsalesbook.com, and tell people to go out, buy a copy. We're releasing the video podcast. We're getting the chapter. It's got to get edited now and put into the book. But thank you, man, so much. And we appreciate you.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you all. Thank you so much for having me. And we'll talk soon.
Thank you for tuning into this episode of Sales Secrets from the Top 1%. We release new episodes every Monday and Thursday, so make sure you subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube to never miss an episode.